Greetings, everyone, and welcome. It is February the 26th, early afternoon here in the East Coast of the United States, early evening in Ukraine. Coming at you with a facts-only video. A lot has went down today. But instead of trying to figure out and analyze and speculate, I think a better route with the facts-only video today is just to listen to what the key players are saying. Now, we know that many of the players, such as Vladimir Putin, Sergei Lavrov, and Donald Trump, are nothing but blatant liars in regard to Ukraine and to world events. That's a fact. Also today, Volodymyr Zelenskyy, president of Ukraine, making a very clear and concise statement. And it's really interesting because really there are a couple of things that actually Lavrov and Zelenskyy are saying the same thing. I'm not talking they are agreeing, but they're talking about the same thing, and that is in regard to hostilities and the war. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing, liking, and commenting. We're growing quickly because I think people are enjoying getting straight to the facts, having these words translated, and finding a good source where they can get a clear picture of what is going on. So the thumbnail, no surprises. I'm going to give you the facts, the words, and then you decide for yourself. Please leave a comment. What is your thought? Where do you think we're going next? We'll jump into it right now. So I want to start first with President Trump. President Trump having his first cabinet meeting, and we could talk about other topics, why Elon Musk is at a cabinet meeting, but we won't go there. We're focusing on Ukraine today. Trump assures that Zelensky's visit to the United States on February 28th has already been confirmed. That will be in 2 days. I can tell you at the time of this recording, President Zelenskyy has not confirmed that he will attend Washington, D.C. in the White House and a signing on the 28th. We are having some movement in the RADA, talking about some agreements with the council on these mineral deals, but Zelenskyy himself has not stated. In fact, he said earlier today, I have not concluded whether I will be going to Washington, D.C. or not. Now, by the time you're watching this, I'm sure we'll have a decision on that. But as of right now, no decision. But Trump says he's coming. Trump also says, we are making good progress with Russia and Ukraine. President Zelenskyy is going to come on Friday. That's confirmed. Just like the meeting in Saudi Arabia was confirmed on the 25th. Exactly. And we're going to sign an agreement, which is going to be a very big agreement. Earlier today, Volodymyr Zelenskyy himself said that the date and format of his meeting with Donald Trump is still being agreed upon. That's what I was sharing with you. I don't plan to provide Ukraine with many security guarantees, Trump stated, but we will cooperate. We need its rare earth resources. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what you call blood money. I'm sorry, but I'm going to call it the way it is, blood money. There is no care and concern for the loss of life and the devastation that has happened in Ukraine that did not need to happen. It was brutally invaded by an evil dictator and regime, Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin. But for some reason, the United States cannot understand that concept in Washington. This deal will bring us huge profits. I'm embarrassed that my president, I'm sorry, I'm an American, my president would even make that statement when you're talking about a war zone where pure evil has unfolded. I don't want to waste any more money on Ukraine. Now, let's go straight to Trump. I have a couple of clips of him speaking. You listen for yourself. Here we go. Clip one.
Deal. Most importantly, by far, we're going to make a deal with Russia and Ukraine to stop killing people. They'll stop killing young Russian soldiers and young Ukrainian soldiers and other people in addition in the towns and cities. And we will consider that a very important thing and a big accomplishment because it was going nowhere until this administration came in. They hadn't spoken to President Putin in 2 years. And so we'll keep you advised. Before we begin the cabinet, I'd like...
we're having good talks. We're going to save the lives of the Russian soldiers, those young guys, and those Ukrainian soldiers. And it's all about the saving of the lives. And we've got to end this. It should have never happened. That's Trump speaking. Additionally, you may be wondering, okay, what about security guarantees? He makes actually a statement in a press conference just a few moments ago about NATO. So listen to this one.
Our equipment, that would have been over very quickly.
What concessions would you like to see? What concessions would you like to see?
Oh, I don't want to tell right now, but I can tell you that NATO you can forget about. I think that's probably the reason the whole thing started. And I think
NATO, you can forget about it. He then defers to J.D. Vance, who spews his mess in regard to Ukraine as well. So, NATO, you can forget about it. This would have never happened. All that's important is we stop the killing of first the Russian young soldiers, and then the Ukrainian young soldiers and the people on the cities and towns. You realize he never speaks about Ukrainian devastation. He's there referring to even when Ukraine is fighting and invading Kursk and defending their sovereign territory by invading Russian sovereign territory to give bargaining chips. Never a mention. There's never a mention. It's only about the deal. It's about the money, and it's about him looking like the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. It is a disaster. And I'm very ashamed, as Pete would say, of the West. Now, President Zelenskyy did make a statement. He said many statements, but one that you need to pay attention to, and I have it translated for you, is there will be no ceasefire without security guarantees. Now, you just heard Donald Trump himself say, you can forget about NATO. Okay, so we know that's off the table. We've already known that's off the table. We've heard about maybe peacekeeping forces. Russia stands against that. You'll hear from Lavrov in that regard in just a minute. But Zelenskyy saying very clearly, no ceasefire. No security guarantees, no ceasefire. No final decisions have been made on my travel. And then the president stressed that Ukrainians must be confident that the war will not start again tomorrow. And that is what we know to be fact, to be truth. This is what the European Union, this is what the leaders of nations like Great Britain and those great, powerful Baltic allies of Ukraine and allies of truth state. You do not understand, United States. You have a big ocean, as you keep saying. But if Russia is not defeated militarily in Ukraine, and then the regime is not caused to fall, they will be back. It may be 2 years or 5 years or 10 years, but they will be back. While that is happening and the truth is being spread out of Europe, out of Ukraine, out of others like ourselves who understand and are telling and fighting for the truth, Donald Trump Jr. is putting out messages on his podcast that the United States made a bad deal. They should have partnered and supplied weapons to Russia instead of Ukraine. It's absolute chaos. But I'm not surprised, because for sure, Donald Trump and that entire team has sipped all of the Kool-Aid of the Kremlin, and that is why we cannot give up. Here's Zelenskyy speaking.
You must understand there's no simple ceasefire. Ukraine lacks security guarantees, you see. Well, it won't be like that. The war will only end when we're sure it won't restart tomorrow. That's how it'll be.
There you go. President Zelenskyy, kudos to you. We'll give you your own today, Zelenskyy.
Слава Україні!
It's because they're fighting the war. They get it. They understand. And no ceasefires without security guarantees. I'm not going to stop this. It's like he says, I'm not going to pay back all these billions of dollars and put my nation for 10 generations in bondage on a bad earth minerals or rare earth minerals deal. That is madness. And additionally, we're not going to stop this war and have a ceasefire if there's no security and peace for the people of Ukraine. It's not going to happen. Now, I have saved this for last because this video coming up from Sergei Lavrov answers everything. It answers Donald Trump. It answers Donald Trump Jr. It answers Marco Rubio. It answers J.D. Vance. And it answers President Vladimir Zelenskyy. Ladies and gentlemen, take a peek at this. First of all, this is what Sergei Lavrov, the foreign minister of Russia, stated. And then I'll play the video for you. And this is key here, guys. You have to understand something, and I'm going to show you a map. We have a constitution. Now, this is where I said earlier, he's saying the same thing that Zelenskyy is saying, although they meet from different viewpoints. No cessation of hostilities along the contact line. We have a constitution, meaning on the Russian constitution, we have the oblast of Lugansk, Donetsk, Zaporizhia, Kherson. So therefore, no cessation of hostilities along the contact line. What remains of Ukraine must be freed from the racist laws. He stated Russia has no option supporting deploying European peacekeepers in Ukraine. This is their narrative we keep hearing Donald Trump say. Oh, British forces can go there, French forces can go there. President Duda from Poland coming out today and saying Polish forces are not going there. Lavrov saying no one has specifically asked Moscow for the permission to have peacekeeping forces in Ukraine. On Putin's proposal on rare earths, he said the invitation of foreign investors to projects in the Russian Federation implies, here we go, the entire territory of the country according to the Constitution. Now, I give you this, NBC coming out and reporting Russia offering United States a deal for minerals in Ukrainian territory it has seized. Now, if you come back to this, and then I'm going to play Lavrov for you, this is what you have to understand, and I'm sure there's talks behind the scenes going on between Trump and Putin in this regard. Putin's proposal for rare earths, invitation of foreign investors, implies the entire territory of the country according to the Constitution. Now, this is what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen. This is Lugansk Oblast. This is Donetsk Oblast. This is Zaporizhia Oblast. This is Kherson Oblast. But I have drawn for you here, and I'll actually put it in a different color now. This in the red is the unoccupied regions of the Donetsk Oblast. That includes Kramatorsk. That includes Konstantinivka, which is being leveled to the ground right now. Additionally, there's a little piece of the Lugansk Oblast right here that Ukraine is still holding. We're also talking about the regions of Zaporizhia that stretches way up here and includes the regional center of the city of Zaporizhia, which is a city, a mega city, a mass city, over 1 million people there, full of infrastructure. And then it also includes across the river, Kherson is right here, and this also is the Kherson Oblast. So when you hear Russia talking about this is the territory we want, it includes, and I can just put this red line here like this. This is what Russia is talking about. It's as if they want the negotiation that Ukraine will just leave and give away 30% of territories of the 4 oblasts that they're still fighting for. This is what Lavrov is stating here. The rare earth that we will do will be in partnership with other foreign nations, but it will be on the territories that are according to our Constitution. Guys, that would mean Ukraine loses the big city of Zaporizhia, the big city of Kherson, the large cities of Kramatorsk, Slavyansk, Konstantinivka, Druzhkivka. We're talking about serious issues here. Russia believes that it is impossible to enter into agreements that would involve pumping Ukraine with weapons again. You see, that's why Trump's saying no NATO, no security guarantees. EU can deal with it. France, you go figure it out. Go talk to the EU. But Lavrov saying no more pumping weapons into Ukraine. Lavrov also announcing a meeting of Russia and American delegations, which will take place on February 27th in Istanbul. Now, here's what's interesting. That's tomorrow. So we know Trump made the statement there will be a 25th meeting in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. That didn't happen. So now we have Lavrov saying there'll be a meeting on the 27th between Russia and America in Istanbul, Turkey on the 27th. Let's see tomorrow if that happens. Now, those are the summary points, the talking points of Lavrov. Here, you can hear it for yourself. We are not considering any options. I don't know what Macron said. He didn't do a very good job in Washington with a convincing argument. But when this topic was raised at the conference, President Trump, and I read about this, said that the decision to deploy a peacekeeping force can only come from the agreement of both sides, meaning Ukraine, US, West, and Russia. Some people say, okay, let's keep the line of contact. This is Russian, and this is the Ukrainian side. First of all, there will be no such thing. We have a constitution based on the will of the people. And secondly, what remains of Ukraine should also be freed from their racist laws. There are people remaining who are comfortable speaking Russian, who want to preserve the traditions of their ancestors, and that has to happen. So there you have it, folks. You now have heard from Donald Trump today. You have heard from Vladimir Zelenskyy, and you have heard from Lavrov. Can you understand now why it's just chaos. And there's no surprise. Donald Trump says we're so close to having an agreement. Ladies and gentlemen, from what I just heard between what Lavrov said, what Zelenskyy said, and what Trump is saying there in the cabinet meeting, they're on different planets and they're in different universes. It's going to be very interesting to see what unfolds. Do not speculate. Do not try to jump ahead with news and say, oh, well, I think this is going to happen. That's going to happen. You have to wait until you hear what comes out of these people's mouths. And then you have to see if action steps actually follow it or it is just a talking head. So I remind you, he is talking about the other 30% of these territories of Lugansk and Donetsk and Zaporizhia and Kherson. And I'm telling you right now, this is only the beginning of what we're going to be seeing. This war and the technicalities of it, ceasefire, ending it, deals, money. We can see just pure evil running everywhere. America wanting to get rich off the blood money of Ukraine, Russia wanting to get rich and get their prominence back on the global stage. China and Taiwan will now fall apart. The Middle East is in turmoil. But as long as we're getting our money in America, everything is okay, while Ukraine is suffering and being wiped off the planet. Is anybody talking about the loss of life? Is anybody talking about the reality? Is anybody talking about genocide? The literal razing to the ground of cities meter by meter? I don't think so, other than our great friends and partners here on YouTube and other media sources that get it. Not mainstream, but those out there that are fighting for truth the way we are. Thank you for continuing to fight. I'll keep you updated on the next one. Should be alive here in the next day or so where we can get in and discuss it. I'm just putting together information for us to discuss on the live. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Thank you for sharing, liking, and commenting. We'll be back soon.